they've taken big maps off of huge teams, and they even had that close round 9 versus E United. Let's not forget, Oxygen was up 1-0 in that series. If they would have won that round 9, they would have got the victory over E United in a 2-0 fashion. That would have been absolutely incredible and a huge upset. Ashes was doing a watch party, and he was even impressed with what the Oxygen boys brought to the table. So I gotta say, they've got a lot going for them. And for Rated R, the only victory that they currently have, I know they have a win. That's impressive, right? No one else at the bottom of the standings do, including Oxygen. But they beat Team Queso, right? And we know Team Queso have, in fact, been lacking. Now, for Oxygen, a lot of characters still to be unlocked. And I think after this matchup, they're going to be unlocked without question, Jacob. But Harbor is going to be an interesting one. Let's get it started.
Where it is going to get interesting. You already know the strats that go down. 3 players quickly running towards the wench. Smokes, Flash is being launched off. Dazed going to get first blood, though. Pell falls next. Only a down going off on Dazed, but no one able to clean that one up. So starting off hot, your prediction, Blaze's prediction, Oxygen taking that fight towards the stern and immediately taking over. That's going to put that pressure on Yachty. But if you look at Oxygen, they're not going all out. They're playing towards their numbers. They're playing towards the angles, and the deaths begin to stagger.
And I like that. Shows maturity. And again, I think Oxygen has that maturity in a way. And you have 2 talented players. You mentioned Tanks, but Aches as well, right? Aches is kind of his duo, and they've been playing together for quite some time. And I've been very impressed what they bring to the table. And it looks like off the rip, man, they are going to go for that domination, and they're going to go ahead and secure it. Now, I'm not going to get too excited, though. This is Oxygen's map pick. And more importantly, they were on, I would say, the better side of Harbor, right, in terms of spawns. So now let's see what they can do on the lesser favored spawns on the other side. Now, if they can win road spawn, at that point, we might have a situation for Rated R.
No, it definitely do, but I need to see whether each one of these teams get kind of wiped and taken out off this initial. I'm gonna need them really need to set up for defense, really fight off for that next wave. You can't let them steamroll, aggressively set up and go for blow. But I do like the weapon placement being placed out for Rated R early. They're gonna go ahead and put that weapon towards the cargo, and you know, week after week I talk about it. If a big weapon is placed towards that up top side, having that early spawn towards the cargo gives you the advantage or nullifies the disadvantage if you're the team that places it.
3v3 now in Winch. We're going to have that 1v1. It's going to be between Relix as well as Yachty. It's going to be a fun one to kind of see how that works out. Now, for Oxygen, though, they're pushed way back. They didn't even try to challenge the Winch. Interesting strategy, and I don't think it's going to work out. For Cellz, he's just going to Lancer out, and Aches and Dazed are just going to be consistently trying to pick each other up until their last down is gone. It's a bit of a misplay for me, but it really depends. 7 and 8 now have broken out. Pell's going to be isolated. He's going to drop, and an awkward strategy might actually pay off. The neutral is in, but where do they go from here? How are they going to get these 2 players out of their own spawn?
They need to make sure that they're choosing their targets wisely, but already 2 players on different pages, but Scavzy and Cellz split up after they do such great plays to overtake the hill. Great shots being fired off by Cellz, but everything they fought for, Taylor, just got flushed right down the toilet. Now Pell's being pressured on his side of the map. This is a must-win scenario for Pell. If he does not take out on top, he falls. His death will get staggered. Now the pressure that Rated R once had on Oxygen, the tables have turned. Now it's Oxygen's chance. And you like what they're doing. They're not getting in the hill just yet. They're making sure that they hold on to their positioning. They get the reinforcements necessary and make their opponent fight for every inch right back. But Tankk with a quick flank, trying to land some cheeky shots. He gets caught out of position. He's going to fall. This is the opening that Rated R needs, but the shots being fired back. Oxygen holding their ground. Dazed going to overstay his welcome. He gets downed out by Scavzy.
Yeah, I don't like the way that was played. Dazed was in a great spot to, you know, Lancer out, help that forward person to get the initial chunks, and they really didn't do anything with it. They just kind of stayed there. And again, you were kind of highlighting like, man, you know, that's good. They're staying there. They're kind of setting up and waiting. Look at player 8, though, by the way. He's still up, and he's going to be on A. He's going for the decap. He is getting the decap on A at this very moment.
It's actually, I do believe, a planted shock that might have got him eliminated, but I don't like this right now. The score is so far out of reach. Scavzy needs to get on the field and try to take out this next fight. Chances are somebody from Rated R dies. That's when you backtrack to get the hill. But with 2 hills in their favor, they do have the win condition towards the top side, but that's if it's uncontested right now, Taylor. I don't think Oxygen's going to let this go uncontested. You see the first down coming through. That's going to go ahead and be bait. They're not necessarily going for the kill. They're going for positioning. Relix needs to be careful. Cellz gets the angle. Players getting down now. The angle's coming through from Rated R. I don't like it either. A defense that seems to be holding on for Rated R is going to be the key here.
Definitely might be. Still, though, they're hanging on by a knife's edge. Any break in a hill is going to turn the tides to Oxygen. Now, for Pell, though, this is a big two-piece. Solidifies one. That's okay. Seven's going to go ahead and back up, and it looks like B is going to be broken, and this is going to be the strong. Already with the beatdown onto Cellz. This was our highlighted player. Don't do it this early on, Tankk. And Relix is given the hump as well. This is just brutal, but that means you all know it, chat, all right? Oxygen, you better win. Now, if you lose, that's just embarrassing.
Hopefully this does not turn the ties. Hopefully Rated R just doesn't flip a switch, because after you get that quick teabag game, we know it. There's a caster's curse, there's a humping curse, whatever you want to call it. You got to be able to back up your gameplay. And 3 minutes and 13 seconds, to me, Rated R is not going down without a fight. They just need to be able to clutch up in the very end. You saw there early on in that round, they were able to take control. They were able to put the pressure on, but two players, I do believe Pell, I think I said Scavzy, or Cellz and Scavzy, they kind of split up. They went two different directions, and then from there, Oxygen took over. So you need to make sure when you're being aggressive, you're pressing forward, that you don't bite off more than you can chew.
Retro is going to be on the side for Pell and Co. So that's going to be huge for Rated R, depending on who runs that. Now, we've been seeing a lot of players play a bit of a hybrid. Your main Slayer is going to pick up that Retro and kind of put the not only the chip damage in his hands, but also go in with the Nashorite. So it's going to be nice. Now, we do have that 3v3 once again. I don't know if Oxygen's going to back off of this like they did before, or they're just going to go forward. They're going forward, and Cellz is already down.
Well, I'm so lost right now, Taylor. They upgraded to their Retro. Their opponent grabbed their pistol towards the side, I do believe towards the bottom half where Relix is at, but they didn't grab that Retro. They could have played it a little bit slower. They had one of the bigger power weapons on the map, and they just let it go. Fortunately for them, though, they have big playmaker Cellz returning to the scene of the crime, able to get one elimination on a player, I do believe in Tankk, that was overstaying as well, come towards the home hill. Now the pressure's on Yachty here, as you see Oxygen going for that quick tap. Relix is going to land some quick Boltog shots. Three players from Rated R pushing down towards the low side. This is a fight they want to take, but they have to be careful here not to take too many shots from Relix and get caught out of position.
So I find this very weird given the fact that they won that winch fight pretty convincingly, but they didn't go for the OE. Only one player went. He ended up dying, and then they rotate down. Now they do get the neutral, so the 2-1 is still there. That's going to be big for them, but one thing that Rated R does well is pushing them back on this neutral hill, and you can already see the effects of that. For Relix, he's consistently going down. Cellz isn't going to let him live. He's going to get this finish, you would have to assume, and he does. And now Aches, it's really nothing he can do. He's kind of isolated out, and also Winch is now controlled from Rated R. So they have put themselves in a great spot that if Tanks, or if his other teammate of maybe Aches on the other side, if they drop off, Pell and Scavzy on the other side, they're just going to go for the OE. This is right now a very dangerous situation for Oxygen. They have to push them back.
You see the rotation coming through. Players trying to jockey for any bit of positioning as they can. Relix returning to where he just got eliminated. No shots being fired off from the Wench. They got caught on a rotation. Scavzy's left the Wench to try to rotate down low, but he actually saves the play for a moment. No Cleel's being cleaned up with the downs. The damage is being traded off. Pell has to be careful. He does have that big Retro in his back pocket, so a lot of damage being fired out, but Scavzy falls. Relix falls. Yachty gets eliminated. 2v1 situation here towards the low side. Cellz gets one. Cellz gets two. The player to watch popping off at the right time. He secures the neutral, but Pell lets somebody slip by. I don't know how you let that happen when you have a Retro.
And he better watch out. Player 6 coming on his flank. That's going to be Tankk, and this could be a tough spot. Pell is going to drop. Of course, he will be picked back up, and Rated R is going to secure the 2-1. That's going to give them back the win condition, and Oxygen has to find a way to battle back. Well done from Cellz, winning that fight, getting that big two-piece, but already a challenge on Bravo is there. Cellz has to hold it down once again. The decap is coming through, but even so, Oxygen still needs a full cap, and it looks as if Cellz is clutching up again. Relix will fall behind, and now he's going to challenge onto Aches, and Aches is getting lancered, by the way, but player 6 is on the rotation. The 2-1 is still coming in for Oxygen. This is going to come down to the wire.
You almost got to keep going in that situation. Those players on the neutral hill, your home hill is getting overtaken. You're not going to win off one. You almost need a double capture, but Pell towards the end, making the right play, getting that decap and the elimination. Dazed, the pressure's on, falls just as well. And with those quick eliminations towards the backside, Cellz winning that neutral. That's going to be a big opportunity here, but he needs to go even bigger. He gets shut down. Reinforcements are there. They only need the decap. Do they get it in time? I don't know, but the elimination eliminations come through for Oxygen as they hold on, and that's going to be a 3-0 lead.
That was scrappy till the very end, Jacob, and we knew it was coming down to the wire. Who was that with the meat shield? Was that Relix getting that big kill at the top of his hill? Well done from Relix, holding his own when it mattered most. He doesn't pick up that chunk. He doesn't get the meat shield and keeps those boys from Rated R at bay from pushing in. That hill's broken in time. You already know it, Jacob, and that probably keeps them at 249, and then that most likely is the win condition going back to Rated R, and they get the domination. But because Relix clutches up in that big moment, picks up the meat shield, keeps those boys from Rated R at bay, that is the round. 3-0 lead, and now things, curious if they get interesting. We're only going to see the shock, we're going to see the retro and the bull talk on the other end, so hey, no power weapon just yet.
Yeah, Cellz at this point needs some help. He needs someone he can trust on the other side of the map. Not necessarily to go big and try to win fight after fight, but at least to hold their ground. He was making play after play, winning the neutral fight, winning 1v2s, but unfortunately, the rest of the team was unable to hold on to the hills. They were able to get the kills, but in escalation, hills are important. Cellz goes down first, unfortunately, on the next exchange. That's going to give an early advantage over it. Pell doing what he can. Elimination with the shock. That's going to be 2 downs going over to Rated R. Elimination's being cleaned up. Can they clean up tanks? That will be a huge stagger, a huge blow to the defense of Oxygen Esports. This one can come through. Hopefully they leave him down, but no, they don't. They don't allow the death to stagger. That is going to be a great play to start off this round for Rated R, but if that player comes back to bite him in the behind, I'm going to look at that opportunity to stagger the death, but Retro's in hand, shots being fired off, meat shields as well. Pell doing what he can, but he finally gets taken out. Scavzy with the Retro, able to get another elimination with the players. The numbers are just too much. Oxygen finding a way to get these trades. Relix goes down. Scavzy trying to land their shots necessary, gets a double kill along with Yachty, and the triple cap aggression is still holding on. When do they give up on this play?
I don't know. At this point in time, they're gonna stick it. Honestly, I still have faith that they can actually pull this off, but I think my faith just went out the window. No more faith. Great bans, but not what Rated R wanted in that situation. Oxygen will stay alive, but they have suffered a big deficit, and that's going to be tough to come back from. But the issue is, though, Rated R hasn't shown me really anything to show, other than that last round, Jacob, that they can, keep a lead or at least maintain objective positioning. So at this point, with Oxygen being back in the fight, I'm pretty worried about Rated R despite them having a decent lead.
No, I'm worried as well because 3 straight rounds, you see, no matter what they do, no matter how hard they fight back, it just seems Oxygen always has the last laugh. And once again, an opportunity to push up. They're playing a little safe. I like what they're doing, staggering the devs, kind of playing towards time. They went off of 1 hill uncontested, but they need to make sure not get eliminated elsewhere on the map. You see on the other side, down towards the low side, eliminations being traded off back and forth. Pell is going to even go ahead and turn the tides on this neutral. So that means Oxygen, pressure is on. You not only have to make multiple pushes on 2 different sides of the map, but you have to come out perfection.
Yeah, at this point, domination is pretty much their only option. It's going to be a pretty heavy burden to just, weigh on the fact of getting a decap and then going for the 2-0 hill cap. I don't think it's going to be possible. So this is going to be the final push, right? It's going to be a 3v3. Those players now on winch, they're going to be pushing up. Now, for Rated R, they understand that they need to hold their home hill. Most likely, that's what it's going to come down to. B is already being fought for, but I'm surprised that that player hops out. Good shock. That limits the choke points to just 1. Dazed now is going to be isolated 2v1, but they do get through. That's going to be a big break. But 1 is going to be on the other side. That should be it.
I was about to say, Taylor, right there. I wish we'd have some sort of listening, some sort of communication, because you can kind of see it. Yachty throws that smoke, or the shock grenade, and he goes around towards his teammate on the backside. Rightfully so. You got to think logically. The teammates is not going to push through that, but the game is on the line. You kind of see it on his screen, the damage, the hit markers. They pushed through that. They got the decap, and they got the elimination. It's just unfortunate for Oxygen that on the other side of the map, they lost a crucial fight, which allowed them to basically sneak past and continue that victory. The first one's always the hardest, that I gotta say, but man, we've been treated for a haymaker of a round, a bloodbath of sorts, and I can't wait to see how this ensues.
It's definitely getting interesting. For me, my biggest worry is Oxygen's maturity. I'm really hoping that they can continue to play well, and because if they lose a couple of rounds, I'm curious how that'll affect their mentality. But maybe those worries are a bit ill-advised, as Cellz will drop off early on. It's going to force Pell and Scavzy to rotate back. And but the OE is there. Rated R now has slipped through. Yachty's going to manage to get onto the home hill of Oxygen Esports. So it's going to force them to rotate back. And I'm actually very curious, as Rated R now looks as if they want to hold this 2-1 home to home. Look at them readjusting and sending reinforcements to hold in D.
I like the reinforcement. They did beat them there as well. That's going to be the big thing. If it was kind of even, you could see Oxygen try to throw those flashes to try to get there in time, but now they have no choice. They got to split push. They're catching Rated R off guard. They can easily take this 2v1 against Cellz, but they have to go now, and they're going to get some damage across the map as well. Cellz stuck between a rock and a hard place, forced to reposition, but that gives up a free neutral. You see the rotation coming in from Cellz. Instead of taking the fight like you see majority of the players do, he's taking the free hill.
And at this point, it's still a mismatch. It's a 3v2. Make it that a 3v1. The shock is out, and Dazed is by himself. I gotta say, I'm impressed with Rated R playing objective. They're not necessarily winning the big engagements, right? In that case, they do, but it was a mismatch, so I'll say it was, you know, not really all that impressive. But I like the fact that Yachty off the rip found an angle through, was able to go home hill to home hill, and then Cellz, as you mentioned, rotates up top, and he's going to lock in the neutral for himself. And that keeps, Rated R in the lead. Oxygen is now playing cat and mouse, trying to catch up consistently because of these players slipping through the cracks. And now Cellz, he's been living rent-free up here, and he's getting that critical damage in. Shock is going to be thrown out, or excuse me, the stun's going to be thrown out. This 2v2 is huge, but I don't even think it gives Oxygen the win condition, even if they do get the full cap. But now, hey, all that discussion's out the window. Well done from Cellz and Yachty, taking down Relix and Dazed. That's the 2-1, and this should be their round.
This is where I begin to wonder, Oxygen doing a good job in those first 3 rounds. Not only are they kind of setting the tempo, setting the pace, but they're also able to clutch up when it matters most. But talk about mental composure, you're using 2 big rounds in a row if they do somehow lose this one. They do have a final push. Here it goes, Tankk throwing that flash, but he just gets chunked down. So does Relix. These players having to chain revive. Relix falls again, his last hope. Dazed falls as well. Nobody left alive to touch towards that neutral anymore, as there it goes. Rated R, like I said, winning that second round. And that's where I got to ask you, Taylor. I know you've seen a bunch from challengers to pro league and everything in between. Do you think this is the moment that Rated R has? Did they switch up momentum, or is Oxygen still in this?
So you got to think, or at least I went back in my notes and I was kind of watching the Pro League qualifiers, and Rated R ended up making it through the Pro League qualifiers. They didn't have to play in the last chance qualifiers like Oxygen did. Oxygen back in the day used to be known as Remedy, and at one point they were one of the top teams in the Pro League qualifiers, but they started to fall off pretty hard week in and week out. And I remember the first week they had to forfeit for some reason, so they were a bit, you know, kind of iffy in my book. But it seems as if when Pro League starts, they have been playing better and better. Now, for Rated R, though, they also had their struggles throughout the Pro League qualifiers, too. And if I do remember, they got 3rd place behind Hive and F&I, but they still were an impressive roster. So I weighed that pretty heavy in my mind, but now I'm really starting to kind of question Oxygen. And again, it comes down to maturity for me. Rated R is starting to push them back hard. They're gaining the momentum, and Oxygen, with the other team having the momentum now and the momentum shifting out of their hands, it seems as if they're really struggling to gain a foothold and get that momentum back. That's 3 rounds in a row. And when you don't have a strong mentality, you start bickering amongst your teammates, you start getting frustrated, and I really fear that's what's happening right now to Oxygen.
In some situations, you even just start getting quiet. You're not telling your team what's going wrong, even if it's such a micro adjustment as a flash, a quarter of a centimeter to the left, but you see already Rated R wants to get those retros. Talk about ever since these escalation changes, retros have been a dominant weapon, and rightfully so. But on the other side, Oxygen going to grab those instants. They want to make sure they have as much kill potential as possible. But this is where I look at a team like Oxygen. They have to be able to slow these games down, because ever since Rated R has been able to chain together these 3 rounds, each round has been quicker and quicker and quicker. So Oxygen, figure it out, man. Use the shock grenade to create separation, create some team play opportunities, something.
In my opinion, Oxygen should have placed a long shot or a Torque up top. I feel they need to isolate the fight because Rated R is doing such a great job objectively slipping players through the crack. And I feel Oxygen is at best whenever they go head-to-head with Rated R, but kind of spacing out the map and still playing it as normal. These past 3 rounds, nothing has really changed other than the addition of, a shock and an ensign. Why do you feel this fight is going to continue to benefit you in the second half? Change it up. Play something up top. That should have been the play.
Heck, you can, like you said, you can even throw something in the middle of the map, and because the two home hills are there in the middle of the map, you can kind of use that to go home hill to home hill. Mix up your strategies, make the other team guessing, but the only thing you can't do here is the same exact thing that's losing you these rounds. You see some well-placed flash from Pell. He's going to try to hold on to his defense here. Nice shots from his teammates at the right time. Pell trying to stay alive. Nice up A. That's going to net him 2 kills, and Dazed going to force to retreat. But if I'm Rated R, I continue to put the pressure. I don't want to let these players escape alive. I want to continue to stagger the deaths, but it actually does look like they're going to retreat. They want to play defensively the entire way through.
And like you said, that pressure, man, that pressure is weighing heavy on the mind of Oxygen. They are struggling to get it together. And I will say, though, the benefit of this round versus the other rounds is the fact that the scoreline is still pretty close. So if Oxygen get a decap, maybe get a full cap on B, they're going to be right back in the driver's seat. And that's the player you want to take down, right? Get Cellz out of the way, force Scavzy back, and keep that one player down on Winch. He's not going to be as impactful as you would think. I say that he has been a playmaker from time to time. You even mentioned Pell yourself, but I don't think he's going to be able to at least take on these 2 players. Aches, though, is going to try and get him out of there. Dazed needs to get that chip damage. Pell, he could be a playmaker here. Let's see if he is going to be.
Just needs to buy some time. Let his teammate do the 1v2 at the same time. And even if he dies here, it's all about the time that he bought, but not enough. As you see, a Tankk doing a good job staying alive here in this situation. Wow. But Scavzy, Cellz chaining together some kills. Can Cellz do it again? Nice reaction shot. Nice damage to get the down as well. Huge indeed as 3 players from Oxygen fall. The score is so close right now, but that neutral going in favor of Rated R is definitely going to suffocate the life out of Oxygen right now. No pun intended, but they have one good push opportunity here. They have to do it as a unit, and I do believe it comes in way of a split push because I do think even if you get the eliminations up top, there's too many opportunities for these players to sneak around down low.
Yeah, this is a must-win for Oxygen because, again, if they lose this round, I know they're going to place down a long shot or a torque bow, but if they can win this round, they can even still do that the same way, and maybe it works. Now, this is a big break. There is potential, but they got to get here, right now. Scavzy, though, is going to pick up one. Cellz is also going to be there as well, and they're not going to get there in time. That's a big win for Rated R. That's 4 in a row, and I know Oxygen is absolutely feeling the pressure, Jacob. At this point, again, same thing, same mindset. You have to play something center line or up top. I don't even care. Even where the old neutral used to be, you've got to change the fight up. This fight is not working whatsoever for Oxygen.
So it's unfortunate at this point in the game for Rated R. They almost have no choices what to upgrade, what to go next. They kind of got to get the retro off the field because they don't want to be the ones to change up the fight. They just won 4 rounds in a row without a weapon center line. I kind of agree with it. But on the side of Oxygen, everything's dead even. Ensign's 120 towards the top side. Shot grenades 120 towards the low side. So if any time is to put that big weapon down, it's now. Especially since your back is up against the wall. This is now map point for Rated R. You throw that M-bar up there and you hope for the best. You can't go down thinking, hey, if I would have just done this, if I would have just done that, now you put it all on the field, lay it all on the line.
Oh, absolutely. And this is going to be a big battle. You can already see it's going to be a 4v4. I like the fact that Oxygen does take their time to pick up their shock. Relix is going to have to use that to the best of his ability. And I think he already used one. Cellz is going to be the troublemaker, though, for Oxygen, and he's going to drop off. This Lancer Fire needs to connect. Cellz, that's his second down. He's now going to be on his last down. Scavzy's also dropped off 2 once, so he's got 2 more downs to his name. But now M-bar's in the hand of Relix. Most importantly, they also get the neutral, and that's a great connection on the Pell. Tries to get Yachty. I think he probably should have held his own there, but it is what it is. Now, that M-bar, again, changed up the fight, Jacob. Now, Oxygen, they've got to hold on. And Relix dropping there, that can't happen.
Got to be careful, though, because those are those little inches, those little battles that when you positioning, Scavzy's able to get one. Nobody cleans up that kills on Scavzy. Cellz comes up at the right time. That hill's going to be overtaken. Ake's doing what he can to get the damage, but how long can he stay in this position? Not long at all, as Pell flanks him with the Lancer, takes him down. So as great as Oxygen was doing in that early game, it's just beginning to fall apart round after round and say goodbye to the power weapon, the N-bar, and the hopes of Oxygen.
I am very disappointed in how Relix utilized that M-bar. I felt, that first shot was phenomenal, but at that point, he was just going off of instincts, just trying to shoot everything that made a move. this is not the way to do it. That M-bar has the potential to shut down lanes, and it should be more of a deterrence than actual, like, you can pick up a kill, right? That's obviously the ultimate goal. But the thing is, though, with an M-bar or a long shot or a torque bow, it's about push control, and you can stop Rated R from pushing up that ramp more effectively, or even back them off of E. They're probably most likely going to get the decap. With that M-bar, they're not going to sit there rent-free. That's a great connection from Yachty. Relix will drop down. Yachty picks up a second. And I hate to say it, Oxygen being my pick, but I think they're falling apart. This is not looking good unless they can turn things around here really quickly. Yachty picks up another one. Are you kidding me?
No.
And then another one?
Oh, no.
Yachty just handled his business. He took down 4 players from Oxygen, and that solidifies it. That looks like it's going to be a triple cap, and it is. 5-3, Rated R wins 5 in a row, and that is embarrassing for Oxygen.
Bro, it's like throwing magnets at a fridge. They're just trying to see what sticks. And unfortunately for Oxygen, nothing stuck. After that first 3-0, I was kind of getting scared right now, Taylor. I was thinking, oh no, Taylor's going to beat me in predictions. I can't handle this. But luckily for Rated R, they definitely cleaned it up, especially Scavzy picking it up there towards the end.
Well, map 2 is going to be big. Asylum coming up next. Oxygen, they've got to answer big. If they don't, they're going to finish early on with a 0-2 loss. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Week 5. About to head into map number 2, Asylum, between Oxygen and Rated R. And without question, I'm very disappointed in the way Oxygen played that last map. First and foremost, they danced. They showed love in round number 2. And then round number 3, you know, they came back and they won that, only to lose 5 in a row. Again, I'm very disappointed with the way that Relix used that M-bar. It has the potential to really dictate the pace and flow of a match and even the pushes of the enemy team. And I felt he was just firing it off just pretty much nonchalantly, or not even nonchalantly, just kind of going to muscle memory instead of using his brain. And for me, that's tough, right? But I do have to point out, and Jake, we were talking about this on the break, you know, and I apologize for not mentioning this earlier. Red9, who's instrumental in the success of this Oxygen, you know, esports team, hasn't played in the past, I believe, 3 times. This is the 3rd time where they've had to use a sub, use their coach, you know, who is obviously Relix. Now, granted, Relix played well for being a coach. He really did. I take nothing against him. And even that in-bar play, maybe I've been a bit too critical. But I am disappointed that Red9, you know, has not been here for the past 3 weeks for whatever reason. He has his reasons. But I feel Oxygen could be playing a lot better than they just did. That's a hard loss for me. They had control and they just gave it up. They fell apart.
My big question mark comes when the practice. How does practice go with this squad? Is Red9 working during scrims? Is Relix getting some reps in there with it? Because if they're practicing the entire way with Red9, okay, maybe I could let up a little bit off of Oxygen here, but 3 matches, that's almost half of the pro league. He's basically the 6-man slash coach at this point. So yes, I want to give him a little slack for not picking up those big M-bar kills. And yes, he did get one. Those opportunities were there, but you can't put too much pressure on him. You talked about muscle memory, and I think that was almost the exact great way to put it, because when you don't get those reps, when you don't get those practice, you kind of play off muscle memory in those high intense pressure situations, especially if Red9 is the guy calling a lot of the plays and things like that. So then you kind of tone things out. You go kind of what you remember, what you've been playing recently. And if Relix isn't necessarily getting the scrims, he's playing more ranked, playing more pickups, that's going to show in his gameplay.
It definitely did. You know, again, Red9 has his reasons, and I don't want to hit it too hard that he hasn't been here for the past 2 weeks. He is a pro league player. He made the pro league with this roster, and I know, you know, very well that he definitely wants to be here. So for him not being here for, you know, 3 matches in a row, there's a good reason behind that. But again, as a spectator, as a supporter of this roster, I am disappointed, and I really wish that he could have been here, because this could have been a much better matchup. But then again, I could be getting carried away. We still have Asylum that's coming up. And again, we do have Exhibit that is going to be that 3rd and final map where Oxygen should have the leg up given their performances in the past against the United. But heading into Asylum, now your opponent's map pick. And not to mention the enemy, your opponent, Rated R has all the momentum. The way that they shut down those 5 rounds, honestly, Oxygen just literally fell apart, Jacob. There was no cohesion. They didn't have it together. That was tough to watch.
Yeah, and to me, like I said, that was just aggression, map after map after, well, round after round coming out from Rated R. It started almost on the initial, and once they started to gain that momentum, you saw each round going quicker than the next. It started off with stealing a couple of those rounds away from Oxygen, and then they were convincingly winning some of those rounds. And then from there, you kind of saw it. Oxygen, what once was a dominant team in the 3 early rounds that they won, fight after fight, slowly just weren't winning shotgun battles. They weren't hitting necessary shots. They weren't making the correct team play and team rotations. I'm hoping during this commercial break, after taking that big loss, you can find a way to reset. Have that pitcher's mentality. You might have gave up a grand slam on map number 1, but you have to win 2 maps regardless. Maps number 2 and maps number 3 are right in front of it, and that's where you got to set your sights.
All right, here we go. Map number 2, Asylum. We need an answer back from Oxygen without question, or else Rated R is going to take this series 2-0, and they're going to better their record. That's going to be 2 wins, and all but solidify Oxygen, you know, heading into the relegation tournament. I believe there's some issue with the lobby, so we're going to bring it back. But again, Oxygen, this is literally a must-win or do or die, or else their pro league spot is 100% going to be at risk, right? We have some great competitors in the Challenger Series that are absolutely looking to make it back, right? I mean, I'm talking about Mars. Mars has been playing out of their mind, okay? Mars is Rocky, Zoom, Abolix, Morality. And we have, you know, a new challenge that actually came in, 2 of the old Carnage Gaming roster. That's Aquí Vamos de Nuevo. Here we go again. That's Sleeper, Chaos, Crystallize, and Altons, right? They played out of their mind last night. And I'm seeing your reaction, man. That's a great roster.
Well, no, it is a great roster, honestly, and I was actually pretty excited to watch you guys cast that yesterday. But why are you forgetting Jippery McLeod? You're jipping the man himself. He's the coach. You gotta say his name. Coach's lives matter. We get him enough
shout-outs as it is. We shout him out all the time when Mars is playing. I loved
reading his little Challenger power rankings there. So, Jip, if you're out there, man, I better see you in the Pro League. These are the opportunities. I know he's taking notes on some of these teams that are in Pro League. he knows the chances of him playing one of these two teams is really high. So I had to make sure to give him his shout out. No shade on you, Taylor.
Fair enough.
But I've been gypped in the past, and I don't want to get gypped again.
Yeah, that is true. No one wants to get gypped, right? It's his signature. But again, these are rosters that Oxygen could be playing very shortly, and that just comes to show you the severity of winning this. I like this. The Oxygen off the rip, very aggressive. Something that was similar in Harbor, but another thing that was similar in Harbor is Rated R slipping a player through, and already at A is going to be Rated R. They've got the 2-1.
Cellz landed some good shots, but going right in the middle. I don't know how he got saved by Yachty again. Great Lancer fire and the revive. Talk about slipping through. That forced the entire team of Oxygen to really backtrack. And you see the pressure Rated R is putting on him. That's going to be another elimination. They're going to hold on to that 2 hills, but look at towards the B. Relix, the coach, he's going to have to stave off a 1v2 situation, or this round could certainly be over. Pell gets the first down on 1. Reinforcements looking like they were on the way, but they're actually going to backtrack. They realize how important their home hill is. Dazed needs to go big. He's able to get 1, grabs the meat shield. Scavzy might overstay his welcome here in a 1v2 situation. He falls as well as Oxygen holds on to their life in this round.
They do hold on, but can they come back? They're down about 50 points and growing. And Cellz looking to be a playmaker. He's going to pass up Tombstone and just rotate back. Meanwhile, Aches, as well as the rest of his crew, is going to be pushing up. Player 2 could go for the OE, but he's going to be met up with Scavzy on the other side. Scavzy does have the opportunity. If, let's say, Rated R does look B, he can go for the OE himself. Back train's there. Aches is having a hell of a time. He gets picked up. He's now on his last down. So any Lancer that hits him, man, it's going to be the pucker factor. Aches needs to stay up at this point. Rated R is holding down this hill, even though it's neutralized, simply by Lancering out.
The longer this goes, the higher chance they win off 1 uncontested. So Oxygen needs to make play, whether they're going for eliminations or the capture. It needs to come out successful. Relix, though, he falls, takes too much damage, trying to even up. Aches able to get the down on 1, unable to clean it up. The down going through again, but reaction shot from Cellz. Kind of the captain of this team, the man who's really shining bright like a superstar of sorts, really wanted to take this game under wraps. He's heard about us talking about relegation. Nope, not for him.
Little Rihanna came out there shining bright. I heard that. I know you wanted to say like a diamond you were dying to, and I would, hey, but either way, man. Right before. Rated R is still in control. Oxygen again now the same situation they were in multiple times on Harbor. They've now forced to go for really a domination. It's going to kind of be their only win condition. Aches now trying to make it happen. Pell's going to shut him down. That's going to be the round. Well done from Rated R through and through again off the start. That OE from Scavzy, or was it? No, it was Yachty, excuse me, who goes for the OE. That was beneficial, even though Oxygen, hell of a start, they get the neutral. But again, now they have to backtrack. They didn't lose the neutral. Rated R retakes control. By the time Oxygen is able to get anything going, and I say get going, just back into the match, they're already down 50, 60 points. Like, you're not going to win like that. So Oxygen, again, we need a little bit more.
My fear right now is like I was saying during the pregame or before this map, is I need to see them have a pitcher's mentality. Forget what happened on map number 1. Just kind of figure out your strengths and build on from there. But I'm scared after that first round, that initial push kind of looks sloppy coming out from Oxygen. If they start getting desperate to kind of start off this match, they're definitely putting themselves in a hole that they're going to be unable to get out of, especially the way Rated R has been playing.
All right, let's get it started. We got that Boltok down low and the Talon up top. Now, does that mean Rated R maybe is going to be prioritizing something at entrance? Or is Oxygen, that's the default Boltok, but I don't know, maybe we could see something down in Pavilion. Interesting strat coming out. But everybody going to be at a little bit more of a standoff. We saw this a lot in the Challenger Series the other night, or actually yesterday. And really, it's that first person to drop. Who's going to be the first person to drop off? And whoever that person is, well, you better know the enemy team is going to be pushing straight into you.
Weird situation. Relix is putting himself in here, trying to get those cheeky shots. See up top, both players using some utility. And this is where you got to give the advantage towards up top over towards Rated R. Aches uses utility up top, so if a push is going to happen, if a defensive play is going to happen on the side of Rated R, they have that utility towards the top side, but the train's coming. Players separating themselves on tracks. It's going to be a 2v2 utility going out. That's going to be defensive utility fired back from Rated R, and they seem to be okay with the stalemate.
Well, the stalemate's here, and I think last night we seen it almost get to the 150 mark at a certain point. Ooh, great shots from Tankk, but can't get the finish. And the reason why is because there was a well-placed shock, or excuse me, stun, but Tankk, in the end, will lose his life. Pel's going to rotate back, and he's pretty safe to go ahead and get this full cap. Dazed is going to push up to him, but it's a dangerous spot for him to go. He's getting lancered out. He needs his teammate to help him. That's going to be Relix. Relix, the coach for this roster, the sub, can't make anything happen. Unfortunately, Dazed does fall. Relix forced to back off, and Rated R strikes off the initial. Long initial, they finally get the neutral.
I'm going to need to see some correct rotations coming out. I've seen too much of a stalemate going down up top. Aches, sometimes you're going to have to take the game in your hand. You're just letting your team play the game, and rightfully so. Sometimes you got to have that trust in your teammates, but nothing is going right towards the low side. Dazed gets down yet again, unable to make it towards the hill. His teammate's going ahead by himself. Relix, the coach, backtracking, and I like this. Make sure you're with your teammates, but I talked about Aches. He gets 2v1 towards the top side. Right. Rated R with the rotation, they quickly take advantage. That's something I was looking at Oxygen to do in this game, so if Rated R is continuing to set the pace and set the tempo, this is going to be lights out round after round. Oxygen needs to start showing some life.
And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, that's what Rated R has been doing great. Oh, better get out of that train's way. Big pickup, but now you're trapped. You've got Cellz and Pel on the other side, and that's a great shot from Relix, though. And these two boys could be in trouble. No, I was talking about Rated R, but they're doing just fine. They end up getting the break. Relix goes down. Egg still picks up a big one, but Rated R is going in for the domination. The score disparity is so large at this point that Oxygen, again, needs a domination.
Situation round after round where the pressure's on. Oxygen forced to make the play. This is not the same Oxygen we saw to start off map number 1. Pel getting a huge double kill. Doesn't even happens right here with Yachty. He's just gonna backtrack, stay alive, and win the game. And this is where I'm looking at Oxygen. When I was doing that VOD review, it just doesn't seem like they have the personnel at the right place at the right time. And when they're at the right place, ready to make some sort of a play, they just don't go. They don't take those opportunities. Toward the top half of the map, it was early on. Aches used his utility grenade, and it was kind of stalemated. He was unable to make the plays from there on out. And unfortunately, as soon as his team rotated down low to take the 3v2, Rated R rotated up top, quickly took the 2v1, and Aches couldn't do anything. He had 2 utility grenades flying at him.
Oh man, this is just, it's looking bad. It really is. Oxygen, they have these flash and dash moments where they look solid, but I think all around Rated R is looking like the better team. And the reason why is because objectively they're staying one step ahead. And that's something that is a reoccurring theme. And again, that was coming back to the broken record thing. I mentioned that several times on Harbor, right? They're doing the same thing here on Asylum. The M-Bar does change things, okay? That's going to force the fight now into Pavilion. But Rated R has been playing very well in the slaying category to the point now I'm kind of weighing over towards them. Look at that cross from Yachty. Cellz, he's going to pick up one. Yachty's going to get a couple of downs as well. And these two boys are about to go into the blender. It's hard to get out of this spot, especially with this much pressure.
There goes the mismatch right there. That was Aches man-to-man. Yachty just completely dominating with the Lancer fire. As soon as Aches went to go and fight him, completely dominates that exchange as well. That sets Tanks up for failure. Tries to go in, completely gets dominated, taken out as Rated R goes up 3-0. This was almost the same thing we saw in the first map. As soon as Rated R got started, round after round was just quicker than the next. And with that M-Bar being placed low side, that kind of spreads out the numbers, and Oxygen just had the same sort of one-dimensional mindset.
And I don't want to, again, I don't want to, you know, single him out too hard, but Relix, I know he's the coach, he's the fill-in, but you mentioned, right, he's kind of been the fill-in now for the past 3 weeks, or at least the three matches, right? So he should have a good hand on what's going on, especially as the coach. He should be able to fit in. But with that being said, he's 0-0 with 6 deaths. He has not picked up an assist, and he has not picked up a kill yet in these past 3 rounds. That, I mean, that coach or not, sub or not, that can't happen.
And this is where it gets tricky, man, because I don't know how many opportunities they're gonna have, but if they don't find themselves back in the pro league, let's just say things go south and they don't make relegations, hey, I'd call up Domes right away. That man's trying to make a comeback, and rightfully so. He has the skill, he has the talent, he has a fan base as well. But this could be the tables, the time for Oxygen to step up. But Dazed, he falls quick. Lancer's being traded off. Tankk dies, and he lets the M-Bar go. What?
I mean,
no.
Yeah. There's not much to say. There's really not. You know, that's a great shot, and that's why you don't let it go. Get that backpack in. Aches, keep your head down, brother, because Scavzy's coming for it. He's going to go ahead and rotate back. Watch out for that train, too, by the way. I know chat was talking about the KDA of the train. Well, I got to tell you, their kills is infinite, and their deaths are 0. And that's always going to be the case, all right? They are unstoppable. Big OE coming in for Oxygen. The player 8 is holding his ground. One will get the break, though. That's Tankk. Tankk taking down Cellz. Scavzy now trying to force the issue on Dazed. But Oxygen, they're giving it their best go. Here comes a domination. Bit of a Mr. Krabs coming through. You better get a touch, Rated R.
Cellz able to get 2. This is not looking good. We've seen Oxygen in these same situations. Down low, they need to be careful. You see the overextension towards up top. I don't think he's actually going to stop and try to take the necessary shots. Instead of going home hill to home hill, it does look like Rated R wants to solidify this neutral. Quick shot from Dazed, though. I like it, but the train's going to come through. Scavs, he's making sure the train doesn't get another one. He wants his eliminations and where he can get them. Aches, though, in a 1v2 situation as well. He has a little bit of a cross towards the top side from Tankk, but he needs to somehow get as much health as he can. He can't go down here. The down's going to come through. A quick revive unable to happen from Tankk. Shots being fired off, doing all he can. Able to get 1 trade.
Nice.
Gets 2, though, but is it too late for Oxygen? They're down 3-0, but they have the lead, but for how long? 2 hills going over for Rated R.
And again, that objective work from Rated R really shining through. Oxygen do a great job battling for Bravo, but now they're forced to send 1 player out. He's going to be getting the home hill. Meanwhile, Rated R, 3 strong. They're not going to waste any time. They're heading straight into Bravo. Player 8's already going for the break. Now, Pell dropping off there is big, and Tankk also getting that fresh M-bar. That's huge as well. So Oxygen, this is their best No, Tankk falls. Okay, Relix, there we go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. No longer the goose egg. He's now popping off, trying to go big. Big body shot. But at this point, Oxygen, they've got the 2-1. This is their best chance to win a round.
Yep, they just need to hold on defensively here or make the great plays for rotations. You see Dazed trying to take the 1v1 towards the low side, but how long, how much of a lead can they get on this home hill? And they also need to know, but a quick flank coming through. Tankk gets caught slipping. Trey is being fired off back and forth. 2v2 on the home hill. The neutral is still going to be held on. Oxygen, Aches able to get 1, gets the second one as well. So late into this one, Oxygen showing some life. They're going to hold on to their 2 hills and hold on to the lead as well. Even though Dazed did die towards that neutral, you see a player sneaking by, but that's just going to be a trade. Relix is going to go ahead and secure that victory towards the low side no matter what happens.
Hills are being broken, though. Player 3 is going to manage to be on B, though, and he's going for that full cap. Still, though, player 6 is going to challenge him. Can he get there in time? The full cap is in, and a good win for Relix. Relix popping off, going big, and that's what we need to see from him. Those other 3 rounds were very sluggish, but hey, this is a start. The bleeding stops for a little bit. But still, though, it's only a Band-Aid, right? You got to put some gauze around it, and that's going to be if they win 1 more round. That's going to be very important. The swing round is up. We're now going to that fight onto entrance. Of course, the main storyline happens on that M-bar fight. But curious to see how the second half goes, right? Because that objective work that works in the first half, that streets fight, that, you know, you go home hill to home hill, that's pretty common. But it's less common for players to go from home hill to home hill when you have to rotate through tracks. So I'm kind of curious to see if that stops a bit of that objective work from Rated R or not.
Interesting to see, instead of upgrading that retro towards the top side to a shot grenade or some sort of incendiary grenade, they go ahead and start building that hammer burst down low. I don't know if they're favoring that retro for later on in the game, making sure they have it for that up top fight towards E, but honestly, that would be a good plan. We've seen how dominant the retro has been this season, but Tankk going in, taking some early shots, firing back for some of his own, but Scavzy, he's going to land the kill blow. He's going to get positioning and the man advantage as well as they set their sights on Dazed. On the other side of the map, though, the coach Relix going off, taking out the player to watch and Cellz. He's going to get a double kill if he can clean up Scavzy. Dazed goes down, though. Relix with the rotation. He does not clean up that kill, but Pell goes huge. Not only getting the revive, but the double kill. That has been the story of Rated R all day long up until this point.
Well done. ENF locked in place, and more importantly, Scavzy getting that M-bar. And look, he's kind of behind enemy lines, playing around with the spawn of Oxygen. He's going to go ahead and dip out. He knows his value is going to be on those baby steps, overlooking streets, and he better get to work because, man, Oxygen's pushing through. Great connection on the 1. Dazed will fall. Scavzy, he needs to pick up yet another one, but with that pressure alleviated, not it being a 3v3, now it's going to be a 3v2. This should allow Rated R to feel a bit more comfortable, but they already have B, right? Oxygen are the ones who's got to push in, and Relix gets shut down immediately. Aches as well, and man, I think it's about to be another round coming to the way of Rated R.
opportunities in big plays. Able to get the down on one. This is almost that situation. You need to make sure you get the right eliminations. Another kill going over for Rated R. They're swarming the home hill. 3 players trying to make it their own. We got a switcheroonie, though. Tankk's going towards up top. He's going to be able to prolong this round. They don't have to sacrifice their lives and throw it round after round. This is going to be a big fight. Cellz needs to play this correctly. He does have an opportunity at reinforcements coming towards the backside, but he needs to buy time. Time bought indeed, but the down's being traded off. Tankk gets revived. The elimination coming through. Although Rated R leads in the scoreline by a massive amount, if Oxygen plays their cards right, they can steal this round away.
That's going to be 2-1. Player 2 knows, look, I got to at least get the decap. Rated R wins off of one hill. The rest of the team needs to get there and quickly, though. Pace it out if they can. It's going to be a tough hold, and Cellz is looking to pick up one. Oh, and he gets it, but Cellz is dropped. Tankk, you got to get the finish here. He's going to pick up one. Yachty's going to get the trade. Yachty's actually going to fall. Aches is still going to be at the forefront, but again, he needs the rest of his roster to join him. Where are the Oxygen boys? Well, they're coming off the respawn. Aches is going to fall, and Rated R is going to take their home hill once again, and that's going to be the win condition back in their favor. But 50 seconds is a long hold, so Oxygen, even though they don't get the domination, they still put themselves in a spot where they can make things interesting.
Yeah, brilliant plays, brilliant effort. The Rated R know they have a ton of time here. They just need to get the decap at the very minimum and to continue to hold the win condition in their hand. Relix goes down. Tankk goes down as well. Pell takes a huge shot. Revive's being traded off. This is a huge fight towards the neutral that could lead to more. But over on the home hill, those are some big kills. This is where I talk about kills over hills. Big situation. Cellz goes down, but their hill's being overtaken right now. It's going to be up to Relix, the coach, to go Hugh on the home hill. The elimination coming through. Triple cap domination opportunity. But now the battle has switched. It's up to Tankk and Aches to continue this one.
Like you said, Tanks and Eggs, good Lancer fire. Pell's going to drop off. Got to worry about one more, though. That's Yachty. Hits a big shot. Tankk trying to take him down, Dazed with the help. And that's going to be the break once again. The win condition now has switched over towards Oxygen. Rated R is going to lose this one, ladies and gentlemen. And Oxygen takes it, but it was a battle through and through. It looked like it was all over with, but well done from the entire roster. Who was that solo player from Oxygen who got the touch? That was Tankk, wasn't it? Or was it
Tankk? No, it was 100% Tankk. He went off a respawn, completely overextended to get that one, but that allowed the players on their home mill to know, hey, I don't have to continue sacrificing my life. We can build up our defense and allow us to respawn and get onto the field. From there, Rated R had death after death staggered, 2v1 after 2v1, and Oxygen didn't let up off the gas. That is a momentum shifter if I've ever saw one myself.
Man, that was a brutal round, man, but an exciting one to say the least. That's the swing round, an important one to take, and now you put yourself within one round away from tying it up. So we'll see how this does play out. We do have some ensigns that are going to be down there, and that's going to be great for the side of Rated R to use, especially for connecting on that M bar. Now, for the other side, they do have the Shock versus the Retro. The Shock is great for shutting down that line of attack, but then again, we have seen Rated R. They've been prioritizing that Retro. You just pointed that out, right? And it hits like a ton of bricks. A great start already for Scavzy. Tankk will fall. He's now in there just a hair away from getting onto that M bar, but he's got to deal with Relix first. And Aches, he's not having a good time either up top.
Oh, that Retro, that's going to be the difference maker towards the top side of the map. Going to be a huge battle one for Yachty, because they're not only going to get that hill, they're going to get the neutral. Scavzy able to pop one with the M bar. The pressure around, they feel like they should have won a round to go. Scavzy's going to get 2, going for 3, missed the shots on Dazed, but the effect of this round is going to be felt as Rated R close out their 4th round and are 1 step away from closing out this series.
1 step away, or 1 round away rather. Match point, series point, and this would be a big win again, given the fact that Rated R, they already have 1 victory on their record. If they get the second one, that's most likely going to put them into the mid-split playoffs. So that would be not only a good chunk of change to play for, but also, right, you lock in that Pro League spot, and you know you have a little bit more Pro League matches ahead. You don't have to fight through the relegation tournament, which that's going to be scrappy. Again, we've mentioned the teams that are involved in the Challenger Series in general. Up top entrance, Aches is like, look, let's switch it up a bit more, all right? M-bar, it's just not cutting it. Let's add a torque bow into the mix as well. That's going to split up the fight a little bit, because without question, hey, Rated R, they've been doing a much better job at getting their hands on the M-bar. Last round was pretty dominant, I would say, so the torque bow is necessary. Oxygen, 3 rounds in a row. They're going to have to step it up here. It starts now.
No Retro this time on the side of Yachty. He knows getting there and being there to Lancer down Relix as much as possible is so important. You can't stop Retro, but damage being splashed out from Relix with that Torque Bow. He's going to be able to get out alive, and this is going to be the huge key for Oxygen's success in this round. Being able to navigate, being able to rotate that Torque Bow around, pick up some of these big kills, but they have to be careful all at the same time. Big kill coming out from Tankk. On the other side of the map, though, so he has to be careful not to get caught out of positioning, but he does get caught out by Scavzy. Oxygen doing what they can to capture this home mill. So now the pressure, the score is going to be mounted up for Oxygen here early on.
And I mentioned, you know, are they going to prioritize that Tank's fight? Well, they tried it. Dazed, though, held his own. Well done. That front train, by the way, absolutely helps him. That's going to cut off at least, you know, Scavzy, I think, who was trying to take him down. He's going to get Lancer out. So that is a great elimination, or at least a cleanup from Dazed. Big shock on the hill. Oxygen still in control of E. Yachty, though, is going to go in for the decap, and Dazed is going to get that M-bar. So let's see how much of an effect that has. Tankk, though, trying to go for the flank. He's caught out. Cellz a bit too wise to that, and he's going to drop as well. This is a great hold from Oxygen, but player 6 is on the flank too, and he's going to get called out. Dazed will take him out.
Dazed with the M-bar, spots him from a mile away, and Oxygen, after some bad rounds coming through, letting some bad things happen from Radar, letting players slip behind enemy lines, this round looking pretty strong. I like what they've been able to do from the very beginning, sending 2 players towards the top side, realizing that Torque Bow, that hill, is so important. Ever since they were able to hold on to it, they've held it ever since, and that is going to be the key. So if Radar has to answer back, they not only have to decap this neutral, but they're going to have to go for a triple neutralization, and they're going to have to kind of hold it for a few seconds there. They can't let Oxygen win these rounds. There goes a pick across the map. That's going to open things up towards the low side. You already see Tankk grabbing that positioning.
And I wouldn't be mad if Tankk goes all the way to F and gets the decap and forces those 2 players at the bottom of Baby Steps and Streets right back. Wouldn't be a bad play at all. He's going to choose to Lancer out. Torque Bow isn't going to connect, doesn't even get splash damage, but the M-bar will. Well done from Dazed. He continues to connect onto Cellz, and Tankk actually will die by the train? What just happened? Brother, you're the only one there. You're not even getting pushed up on. Why did you die from the train?
So it's okay, though. It's okay. His team won that fight. Relix, I think, picked up a double or triple care in that situation. I don't know what happened either. I'm just hoping maybe he jumped into the train, trying to grab it. Exactly. Maybe he's just trying to grab a ride to Victory Town.
Oh, that would definitely be something that needs to happen. Hey, I will say this, though, Jacob. Well done from Oxygen. That Torque Bow changed up the fight enough for at least, you know, to isolate those 2v2s, and it was hugely beneficial for the side of Oxygen. Now I'm very curious, what do we see from the side of Radar in this weapon placement? Banning out that Torque Bow actually wouldn't be a bad thing. They've been winning the fight for M-bar, and if they do decide to do that, I think they could be back in the driver's seat, and they will actually ban out the Torque Bow. Again, this is something I felt that needed to happen, given the fact that it just broke with the fight a little bit too much, and that was a dominant round, right? You don't want to keep that Torque Bow in the mix. Go back to what was working before, just fighting for that for that M-bar and Pavilion. But without question, with that disable out of the way, if Oxygen can win this round and send it to round 9, hey, they could be in the driver's seat. We could be heading into Exhibit pretty soon.
Yep, I told you. Didn't know how this one would go. 5-0s, 5-1s, 3 round number 9s. I knew it was going to be a close one. Both of these teams fighting for their lives within the Pro League, fighting for that spot in the mid-split playoffs. You see Cellz, he's going to go down first. Relix unable to clean that one up. Scavzy catches him out of positioning. I do believe Scavzy's going to be able to grab first blood. Continues the rotation over. Aches needs to be careful, though. Both players spotted out. Damage first. Instead of going for the up A, I like what I'm seeing out from Scavzy. That's going to force Tankk back. So all ready to start off this one. Radar is going to be able to grab that neutral hill first and set up defensively here. So ball's now going to be on Oxygen's court to try to make some plays, try to make some moves, and you see Tankk not wasting any time. He knows the positioning, the advantage is there to get the decap, but now are they going to stay for the capture? Are they going to try to grab this lead right back?
Looks like they are. They're sticking it. The smoke, I guess, was enough despite the marks. Relix, though, is going to be dropped down. Tankk as well. Scavzy's going for it. Now, he's been a huge playmaker for the large majority of this round so far, but the rest of his team are going to be pushing up hard. Now, the big thing, though, is Aches does get the M-bar, and Scavzy's going to lose his head. Now, Aches, you got to get out of there. Player 2, you got to get the pickup. No, he's just going to go for the decap, and it looks like that M-bar, I think, is still on the ground unless he was able to backpack it, which I think he did. Either way, though, big fight here. Dazed looking to take down Cellz. He's going to get lancered out by Pell. And no, the M-bar was not backpack, and that could come to bite Oxygen in the butt.
Because they let Dazed basically down himself out there for that moment, that's going to allow them a little bit of advantage for Cellz to get in position. You see, it's going to be a 3v3 towards the top side. If I'm Rated R, I'm playing for damage. I'm playing for some eliminations. If they get a break, that's okay, as long as they don't convincingly hold on to the capture as well. Relix getting spotted out. They see him pushing up inch by inch. Quickly backtracks, though, and that's going to be a smart play coming out from Oxygen, getting the hill under your control and defensively setting up. You know you have some comeback to do, but Relix gets caught trying to hop over the cover. Unfortunately for Rated R, though, Cellz bites off more than he can chew. He gets taken out. Tankk falls, though. Trades going back and forth. There's a little bit of a bloodbath. If Aches and the rest of Oxygen could somehow come out on top, hold the positioning, they will be first to reinforcements. But once again, that 2v1 is going to go over Oxygen. But no, it's continued chaos.
Wow, Scavzy, great connection, because Aches was getting that break without question. He's probably going to stick it like he's done in the past. So that's going to keep Rated R in the driver's seat. They're apex into 200 mark, and Oxygen, they've got to get this decap here and now. They understand that, and that's why they're going to send Tankk forward. And I'm very curious to see, yeah, the 2-1 should give them back the win condition, but it's going to be a close one. That shock's going to help. That now leaves Oxygen there to stick it, to go for that full cap. And does it give them? No, it does not give them the win condition. A little bit more needs to be done. They need to get a decap, and that's going to be up to player 4. That's going to be up to Aches. But then again, simultaneously, you need to hold an E, and Rated R gets to break, and I think this is where Oxygen is going to lose.
Basically have to go for 2 hills at the same time here. There's only one guy to do it, Dazed. Yep, it's basically over. I don't like to call it, but with 248 and nobody on the map, that's going to be the game. Rated R take the map, end the series 5-3.
Well done from them, and that's going to better their record now to at least 2 wins, right? And that's going to set them apart from Oxygen Esports and Team Queso, who have yet to win a series so far. So pretty much can see the writing on the wall, right? We almost have, or at least we should have, Oxygen and Team Queso going into that relegation tournament. But Rated R, again, great win. It's tough for Oxygen. You know, coming into this, especially for my predictions, I didn't know Relix was going to be filling in for Red 9. That probably would have swayed my decision over towards Rated R. But it is what it is, right? You got to stick by your picks. You got to stick by your guns. And I'll take the L for that one. But if Red 9 was here, I genuinely feel that fight would have been a lot better. But hey, hats off to Relix. Started off with a goose egg on Asylum, but he ended up making some big plays to at least start that comeback potential, right? And again, I'm very confident, Jacob, if they win that round number 8, I think they could have won round 9 with that torque bow and M-bar. It was a little bit chaotic, but it seemed as if it suited their play style. But it is what it is. You take one for the team, baby. Rated R. And you end up getting it.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Pell. I know for a couple of seasons now, I've been putting a lot of pressure on him, and rightfully so. I open up the day. Maybe it's not Pell I should be looking at to be that main slayer from the team, but he stepped up big during this tiebreaker map. I do believe at one point he was kind of like 13-1 to kind of start off the game, something like that, or rather. But Pell really showing up when his team needed him most, because you don't want to fall into that relegation. You don't want to get into that negative mindset. You don't want to lose your spot at this thousands of dollars that is up for grabs.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, you know, you shout out Pell. I'm going to give a shout out to Yachty. You know, Yachty on Harbor pulled up big. Remember that 4-piece that he got on top side for the neutral? That locked in the round. And that was just Yachty popping off left and right, taking fights. At one point, I think it was a 1v2, and then 2 more players challenged him, but he was able to isolate it to, you know, 2 individual 1v1s. So well done from him, playing that very well. Cellz also, right? Cellz was the playmaker on Harbor. But, you know, each individual member of Rated R kind of had their moment. Scavzy, too, right? You can even see it there with the M-bar plays. Like, he was nasty with the M-bar anytime he had his hands on it. So each player on Rated R all played their part in taking this victory over Oxygen. I think together, collectively, they just had it. They had a little bit more oomph, right? Objectively, they played well. That really did Oxygen in the end, Jacob. That objective work from Rated R, constantly playing around with the 2-1. Oxygen just literally could not keep up. Bottom line, period.